My name is Joseph Andoh Quarm, but I usually don't use the Joseph. I make it simple Andoh Quarm.
Do you know that telling a story is one of the most powerful ways to connect with your audience? Do you know that the human brain processes story much more easily and quickly than facts and figure? Stories are a great way to engage your audience, get them interested in your products and services, and inspire them to take action. A good story will help you create more compelling content that can be shared on social media or through other channels. And it's not just about telling a compelling story, it's also about knowing how to tell it effectively. Now, do you want to better connect with your audience? Then join us on our online training class, Storytelling for Content Creators and Digital Entrepreneurs. Come to obehiair1food.com/storytelling and learn how to leverage your storytelling skill to earn more as a content creator and digital entrepreneur. Storytelling is a powerful way to connect with your audience, so let's explore it together. See you in the class.
Now I'm 87 years old or 87 years young because I still move around. I don't have a walking stick, you know. So I was born in 1935 in April, and I went to school in my father's town, Beyin, Beyin. And of course, my mother's town is 10 miles from my father's town called Bonyere, Bonyere, Bonyere. I went to school in Beyin Catholic School. There was only one school there, and without Joseph Bible Bible name or whatever it is, they wouldn't admit me. So I was baptized Joseph, and then I went to school there, finished in 53, and came to Sekandi Takoradi, where I got a job as a messenger and then later on as a clerical assistant in the railways, Ghana Railways. It doesn't exist anymore because politics has no eyes. Politics has only emotions. Sometimes I should say that. After Nkrumah was overthrown, the whole system was broken down, and then they introduced articulated trucks. And the consequences were very, very bad. The rules were not built for heavy articulated trucks. Anyway, I'm adding all these things because they are part of my experience. After school, after working with the Ghana Railways, I had a few months with the Timber Marketing Board, Takoradi, and then I went to Accra. Somebody recommended me to somebody in Accra to be his private secretary. I was there, and then later on, I joined the Ghana Foreign Service. We had two foreign services. One was the African Affairs Secretariat, which was directly under Kwame Nkrumah because of his quest for African unity. And I worked in that office at Flagstaff House, the official residence of Kwame Nkrumah, the president. And then I served in 4 countries: Niger, Togo, Central African Republic, and the last was the Sudan. You know, uh, it was there that Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. And of course, my ambassador found me as an scapegoat, make some reports or complaint about me. And I was called by the Foreign Service, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which was the one that deals with foreign countries, and African affairs dealt with the African countries. So I was called for consultation, and during the consultation, somebody found me as another scapegoat, and I was detained by the special branch in Ghana for 1 good month.
All right, thank you so much, sir. But I find something interesting there before we get started with the interview just now. Of course, it is
Okay.
related. Without the Joseph, your name, without the Bible name, they will not admit you in school. Will you please
Yes.
expand on that?
Well, of course, I can. The white man thought that we were heathens. You know it in their literature, and we have to be proselytized. And before you can be uh, made a human being, you have to have a Christian name. So that was the reason why I had a Joseph. And it was my father who agreed that Joseph should be my first name instead of Andoh, which was my great grandfather's name, a very, very wise man who had, a record at the king's palace, because he was so wise that whatever happened, and it was the scarce, eventually they would take what his answers or his opinions were. Anyway, so that's why I hate the Joseph, because it should have been the first name shouldn't have been Andoh.
All right, thank you for that. Well, that is it, and it's all across. It's all across the continent. I also, when I got baptized, that was when I had the name Peter, because the name I was given, although they are very significant, of this, of course, I've spoken of it in different occasions when I've had the chance, both at the universities and also in secondary schools and in social centers where I've presented both my books and also my documentaries.
Good.
That African names are significant. We don't just go to Wikipedia to look for names. Names
Yeah,
have meaning, have
that's
significance.
right. Mm-hmm.
Now, my name actually are these. Actually, okay, let me just give you then, because we are talking about, it's going to have effect on what we are talking about today. I am Ewanfo, which is the name of my father. Ewanfo means no one actually have the whole custody of knowledge, meaning that we are always learning. That is the name of my father, my son name, therefore.
Good.
Now, my father gave me a name which is called Omokegbele. If that is translated to English, it will mean children or my kids are my kinsmen. meaning that children are my kinsmen in this sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my grandmother, because I stayed with my grandmother, gave me a name, Ehichoya. That one, if it is translated to English, it will mean God will stand by you, or God will help you in a time of difficulty. Of course, by God now, she's not referring to the European God, because my mother was not a Christian. Sorry, my grandmother was not a Christian. But of course, as we will talk about later, Africans have always have God consciousness. Of course, not talking of the European God. Now, another name I have is the name my mother gave me, which is Obehi, the name that I actually bear today.
Mm-hmm.
That name actually means that it is not my will, it is the will, it is a divine will of what has happened. And what has happened, I will explain. We are actually predominantly male in our family. We are 9 in all. So my mother was expecting a female who could help her when she was pregnant of me, so that when she have domestic work, I could help her as a female to do the domestic work. She was actually hoping for this. And at this time too, my mother is not a Christian. Of course, she became a Christian before she died last year. So when she gave birth to me, of course, in the house, she said to me that she took up the child and she looked at it and said, again, this one is a male. She said, well, it is not my will. It is the will of God that this child should be male. That is the meaning of that name. Now, of course, I'm not going to go into the significance again of name. I'm just trying to say that it is important that we know the importance of us having our name. That it is not just because somebody suggested a name to them, that is why they gave us this. It is deeply rooted in the culture, in their existence, because we are basically extending their life, and our children will extend our life, so that all of us, we are connected.
Good.
All right, having said that, today in Ghana, just like in many other Africans, do you think this idea of trying to wipe out African history, because that is essentially what it is, by making sure that you have a European name instead of your name, is cutting you off from your root so that you can connect to the European, which of course, this one is even false. Do you think we still live by this idea today? Or have we come to the consciousness that our names mean something and therefore we must hold our name? Before I get to that, at the point already here in Italy, I actually wanted to refuse the Peter. So if you see most of my official documents today, like my books, my documentary, if you go on internet to search for my name, you don't see Peter there because I removed that. I said, no, I want to keep my African names. But of course, since that is the name that I use here, in my legal documents, Peter is there. But my official document, which of course the one that I represent myself by, I don't use Peter anymore. But of course, if you call me Peter, I'm not going to be angry. But as a question of choice, I don't do that anymore.